Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee and Chat with Hallie Bridgman. I'm so happy you could join me. I have my cup of coffee. So I hope you have a cup of coffee or tea and you have a few minutes while we chat. So happy October 17th. I'm doing really good at getting back on Coffee and Chats. This one is actually live. It's not pre-recorded. I'm taking a morning break from work, just a few minutes so that I can do this live. And I'm so excited to be live with you. Let me fix it to where I can see the comments. Good morning, Erica. I'm so happy to see you. So I'm hoping to see Erica when I go on my book tour for the Love and Honor series, because she's a military wife stationed at one of the posts that we're planning on going to. So we've had crazy travel time since September 9th, we've been to St. Louis, my parents' house in Fairmont, West Virginia, St. Petersburg, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada. Greg had drill in Nashville, Tennessee this past weekend. We're planning on going to Alabama this coming weekend because my son Jonathan has a Rubik's Cube. Well, it's not Rubik's Cube, it's a speed cube competition. And so I had planned on staying home with Scott because Scott in the last trip was like, I'm really kind of done with the travel. And so we were like, that's fair. It's been a lot of travel in the last month and a half. And so I'll stay home with him. But Scott said, no, I need to be there for Jeb. So we're all going together again. So that'll be fun. It's just been kind of a little bit of a cray time. So, but I'm prepping to write a new book. I have Word of Honor published 2 weeks ago tomorrow, and it's doing phenomenally well. And then in 2 weeks, Honor's Refuge publishes. So I'm really excited that this Love and Honor series is like getting such great reviews and doing really well. So that brings me to today's question, which was, let me find the actual question. How do you come up with such interesting characters? And, that's really great timing for that kind of a question, because the other day, Greg and I were talking and I was like, the reviews all over the place are saying over and over again, good morning, Jackie. So everything about the characters. I'll show you. So in Word of Honor, which is the second book in the Love and Honor series, these are just some of the comments about the characters in all of the reviews that have come in. The characters in this book are very well thought out. They each have a wonderful personality that you will get to know both through action and nickname. The author crafted intriguing characters. Bridgman is good at bringing humor to tough topics and layers to characters. This book is filled with characters that you can feel in situations that keep you on the edge of your seat. The characters and storyline are wonderfully written and filled with lots of action and sweet romance. The character cast is terrific. I enjoyed the characters from the previous book as well as the main characters in this read. They are fleshed out well, and the reader really gets to know them well. And so that's just a piece of some of most of the reviews that we've gotten, and over and over again, people talk about the characters. And so how do I create that situation that what the reviewers are talking about are the characters, instead of like the plot or the danger or the suspense, because that's mentioned too, but the characters are always, in all of my books, are mentioned. And so one of the things that I do is intentionally create characters first. So I go into my books as character-driven stories. And so you would think with a book like Honor Bound, which is about an FBI agent and a Special Forces A-team and an undercover operation in Istanbul, Turkey, that the first thing that I would do would be to create the plot. But what I did first was create the characters. I had Bill Sanders, and I had to create his backstory and his current state of being and his motivations and his conflicts and who he was in his relationship with God and who he was in his relationship with the people around him and his family. And then I had to do the same thing for Linda Coulter. And I had to go into who she was and what were her motivations, what were her conflicts, how did she handle her faith element, what was her current relationship with God? And so I take the conflicts, internal and external, of the character itself, the um, the suspense, conflict, and motivations for the character, the romance, conflict, and motivations for the character, and then the faith, conflicts, and motivations for the character, internal and external, and build those. And then when I'm done with that, I'm ready to start plotting the book, because as I'm doing that, I'm creating a lot of the plot of the book. Like the motivations and the conflicts are what the plot is, right? So, I might want to say I have a special forces A team going undercover as a married couple and an FBI agent going undercover as a married couple in Istanbul, and they have a history together, and he broke her heart and crushed it in college, and they haven't seen each other since that day, and the surprise, I'm your pretend husband. That's all built up around conflict, motivations, and how they act and react to the things that are going on around them. And so, I have a vague idea of, obviously, plot, settings, maybe not really well fleshed out yet, bad guys, but I don't start any of that prep until I know all there is to know about my characters. And there's all sorts of ways that you can do that. You can actually fill out a form, like a character development worksheet form. To me, that would feel like a lot of work because my brain doesn't work that way. And you can create a binder. You can do all sorts of things. I personally do it on a whiteboard after I have spent a lot of time on Pinterest building like images of my characters, of where they're from, of what they are, of what they do, of what they wear. And as I'm building that Pinterest board, then I'm like, my mind is already formulating, who is this person, and why do they do what they do, and what motivates them, and how do they act and react to the conflicts that approach them. And then once the Pinterest board is built, then I sit down with a whiteboard and I create my conflicts. Let me see if I can quickly, I don't know if I can go fast enough to not be annoying with this. But I have a video of myself doing the conflicts and motivations. And it's possible that I can find it in enough time that it's not annoying for you to have to wait for me to find it. I was teaching a class one time and tried to find it, and someone said, well, maybe you can email it to us. And I'm like, I know that it's like seconds away from me having it on my hand. Okay, I have it. Yay, me. Okay, so in the third book, I have Phil Osborne, who you met in the first book, and Melissa Baxter, I think her last name is. I'm really bad with names. Y'all know that about me. And I had built their characters on Pinterest, and then I went in and I wrote my character motivations. So let me see if I can share my screen. And let me figure out how to share my screen. Okay, I'm going to present, share screen, and I'm going to share my video on. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you're seeing this. This is me creating the character for Phil Osborne and Melissa Baxter, or Braxton, that's right, Braxton. And here's who they are in their faith and in their state of being. And now I'm creating the conflicts. I have spiritual conflict. I have personal conflict. I have suspense conflict, and I have romance conflict, and I have the faith conflict. And all of those things in the end are going to have to come together and work together as one story. And so I draw lines between the two characters and what connects them and what doesn't connect them. And how is it that their motivations will end up being a shared goal as characters in a love story. And so that's basically how I do it. And my intent as I go into every single story with these character-driven stories is to only write realistic characters that act and react as if they were real human beings. And so I don't drive characters' decisions in order to drive my plot. I don't make them do stupid things or tell lies when they went in, or hide things just to make the plot look good. You know, that kind of thing makes me crazy in romantic comedies or, you know, other romance novels. My characters, I want them to do what real people do. And so in the end, what I have is realistic characters acting and reacting realistically to all of these conflicts and motivations that they're facing in this journey of time that I have them in. So I hope that that answers your question. If you have a question for me, if you go to my website, there's a button you can press that says Ask Callie a Question, and I'll try to answer it on the Monday Morning Coffee and Chat. I hope you all have a fantastic week. The cool weather starting in Kentucky. It's very exciting. Fall is here for us in the Northern Hemisphere anyway. And I will see you guys next Monday after I go have my very first Rubik's Cube competition. Not me, Jeb. I'm so excited to see what he does with it. He's so good at that. You know, he's amazing. So you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you next week. God bless you.